Hello BookTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome back to the Hourly. Today is day 20 of Vlogmas and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about different techniques that you can use to read more in 2017. Hello BookTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome back to the Owlery. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about how to read more in 2017. Now this video has been done a lot, but just in case you guys have not seen it or you want some extra tips that maybe someone else didn't say, I am bringing you guys this video. I read 135 books this year, so I think I did pretty well for myself. Not as much as some people, but a lot more than most, I feel like. And I think I have some pretty good tips on how you guys can read more in 2017. But you actually have to take my advice in order for this to work. So let's go ahead and get started. My very first tip is to take advantage of audiobooks and ebooks. Now, I hear so many people say, I can't read audiobooks, or I can't listen to audiobooks, I can't read ebooks, blah, 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 blah. I guarantee you that you could probably read 5 to 10 more books per year just by picking up audiobooks and ebooks. So the best way that you can use audiobooks, I mean, you can use audiobooks all the time while you're driving. If you're driving to and from school and you have a 20-minute commute, that's 40 minutes of reading that you can get in per day. And if you listen on 1.5 speed or 2 times speed, that's like over an hour of reading that you can get in just going to and from work or to and from school or wherever it is that you travel to on a daily or weekly basis. If you do the math and you listen on 1.5 speed, you could probably listen to like 10 books a year just on your way to and from work or to and from school or wherever. And that's a lot. Like, you have to be consistent with it, but audiobooks are a good thing, you guys. Like, if you guys listen to an audiobook and you were unimpressed, it's just because you didn't get the right audiobook. Like, I guarantee you, I have listened to some really bad audiobooks in my day, but 90% of the audiobooks that I have read have been fabulous, and you just need to give them another go because I guarantee you they're amazing. You can also listen to your audiobooks while you're grocery shopping or clothes shopping or cleaning the house or working if your boss allows you to do that. Like, they are just a really, really great way to do that. And what I usually hear people complain with audiobooks is that I can't listen to an audiobook and do something else. Like, it just gets me distracted. So if you cannot listen to audiobooks while you're working or doing housework or something like that, that's fine. I get that some people can't focus on 2 things at once, but driving, especially to and from work or school or somewhere that you go a lot, it's pretty much a mindless activity. Like, you have to obviously be aware of your surroundings, but if you're driving to the same place every single day, it's a mindless activity and you can get there with safety pretty much all of the time. And so listening to an audiobook is not much different than listening and singing along to your favorite song. I guarantee you it's a lot more beneficial than you might think it is. And ebooks are great for times when you don't want to carry a physical book around with you. I know some guys out there and some women who don't like carrying big purses like me. I constantly have my phone or my e-reader on me so that I have an ebook to read if I'm in those in-between moments, I call them, while you're waiting in line at the grocery store or while you're waiting at the doctor's office or pretty much waiting for anything. Take those extra 5 minutes and pull out your book and read a couple of pages. If you're really dedicated to reading more in 2017, I know some people have a very strict reading routine that they have to go through and they have to be in a comfy spot, but you really have to get out of your comfort zone if you want to accomplish reading more books in 2017. You need to be able to read at intermittent periods throughout the day, and just while you're multitasking or doing something else, listening to an audiobook is really beneficial, or listening to or reading an ebook is really beneficial when you're in those waiting moments during the day. The next tip I have for you guys is to create a reading schedule. So while you're listening to your audiobook and reading your ebook, while you're out and about on those in-between moments, or while you're multitasking or whatever it is that you're doing, when you get home from work or from school or whatever it is that you do every day, even after the kids go to bed or whatever it is, take 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 1 hour, however much time you can spare, to read every single day. Even if it's just a little bit of your time, take that time for yourself and sit down and read. Or even if you don't want to do a time period, say, I want to read 25 pages every single day, and commit yourself to that. And you can even start off small and then work around your schedule, what works best for you. When you start off, say, I want to read 10 minutes per day, or I want to read 20 minutes per day. And if you are able to increase that number and find that sweet spot for how long you can spare in your everyday life. But you have to commit to making that schedule, and set an alarm clock on your phone. If you're usually winding down for the day at 9 p.m., the kids are in bed, or whatever it is that's going on in your life, set an alarm on your phone for 9 p.m. to read for 20 minutes, and you just drop whatever you're doing, if at all possible, and you read, and you take that time for yourself, and you commit to doing something that you enjoy at least once per day. Now, this next tip might be a little gross, but it really does help me get an extra 5 or 10 pages in per day. Take your book to the bathroom, whether it be your phone ebook or your Kindle or your Nook or your physical book. Take it to the bathroom. I know it might sound gross or weird or, whatever, but if you gotta go number 2, you're gonna be in there for a couple of minutes. So why just sit there doing nothing when you could be multitasking? And I know it sounds so weird to talk about going to the bathroom on my YouTube channel, but I'm telling you, especially if you're going number 2, it's you might as well take those 5 minutes that you're doing your business to read while you do it, because I guarantee you could get an extra 5 to 10 pages in every day if you just take your book to the bathroom with you. My next tip is to not spend time on books you aren't enjoying. So in BookTube, I feel like there's this guilt that some people have where they have to finish a book even though they're not enjoying it. And DNF is not a dirty word, you guys. If you're not familiar, DNF stands for Do Not Finish, and it's kind of what the acronym that we use to describe books that we didn't finish. I DNF'd this or I DNF'd that. And I'm telling you, DNF is not a dirty word. What I usually do is I give a book 50 to 100 pages, depending on the length. If it's a long 400-page fantasy, I'll give it 100 pages. If it's a short 250-page contemporary, I'll give it 25 to 50 pages. And if I am absolutely hating it, I won't finish reading it. Like, I don't have the time or the energy or the patience to be reading a book that I do not like. And my rule of thumb with Goodreads, and this is different for everybody because I know that they care about their Goodreads reading challenge and all that stuff, but if I read 50% or more of a book and I DNF it, I mark it as read on Goodreads. I have read more than half of the book, and I don't do this all willy-nilly. It's not like I go and read half of a book constantly. I've probably 2 or 3 books of the 135 that I read this year. I read 50% of it, DNF'd it, and marked it as read on Goodreads to go towards my Goodreads reading challenge. But if I've read less than 50%, then I do not mark it as read. But DNFing is not a bad thing. Don't waste 2 weeks on reading a book that you hate when you could read 3 or 4 books that you love in that same amount of time. So yes, and I guess that the whole DNFing thing and marking on Goodreads as read is another tip too. If you end up not wanting to read a book anymore, but you've read more than 50% of it, don't feel bad about marking it as read on Goodreads. Like, this is your Goodreads reading challenge. It's not anyone else's Goodreads reading challenge. If you want to mark a book as read, if you've read 40% of it, you can do that. Like, it's your Goodreads reading challenge. That's okay. It's not a bad thing. Like, I mean, don't go marking books read if you haven't even picked it up at all. But my general rule of thumb is that if I've read more than 50% of the book and I DNF it for whatever reason, or I just don't feel like going back to it for whatever reason, I mark it as read in Goodreads and add it to my Goodreads reading challenge, because I feel like I have read enough of it to warrant me doing that. If you have the free time, participate in readathons. This is probably like the best advice that I can give to you, because readathons, just, there's a sense of camaraderie and like there's a sense of like community when us here on BookTube, we do readathons. It's a lot of fun to have challenges because it kind of gives you a guide for your TBR for the week, and everyone else is reading and they've read 3 or 4 books in 2 or 3 days, and you know, there's inspiration and we support each other, and readathons are just a great inspirational way to boost your Goodreads reading challenge, and I really enjoy them. I host the Read-A-Rama myself, which is like a 3 or 4 time a year readathon, and then I just started helping with the a Very Merry Christmas readathon as well, and I love readathons. They're just a great way to read more books, but don't stress either. If you read 2 books during a week-long readathon, that is okay, especially if it's more than what you usually read. Like, don't stress yourself out, because all that's going to do is put you into a slump. But if you can deal with the slightly stressful situation of being in a readathon, do it, because when I am in the mood for a readathon and I am really committed to it and I'm a part of the community and the camaraderie of a readathon, I can read 7 books in 7 days, and that's just like amazing. Also, for a readathon, don't set yourself up to fail. Don't say I'm going to read 7 400-page books in a 7-day readathon. Like, don't do that, because all you're going to do is fail, and you know, unless you're like queen of reading and you can do that, read 400-page book in a day, which I've done. It's not undoable, but to do that every day for 7 days is just crazy. Don't set yourself up to fail. Read shorter books. Read you know, reread a book that you really love, or you know, something like that. So yeah, don't set yourself up to fail during a readathon. Definitely, you know, set yourself up to succeed and read shorter books or graphic novels, or reread a book that you really love, and that will help you win all of the readathons. Another thing that I have realized this year that really helps me read is to kind of sort of live tweet my reading. So I was reading a book earlier this year, and I posted about something that happened on Twitter, and someone commented, and then I commented back, and then they commented back to me, and like, it just made me want to keep reading, because we were fangirling about, I don't even remember what book it was or who done it or whatever, but it was just such a cool situation to like connect with another reader about the book that I was currently reading. I just wanted to keep reading and reading and reading until the book was finished. That's basically what happened. I finished like half the book in one afternoon because I was just fangirling about the book with someone on Twitter, and being a part of that community and being around people who can support you and inspire you to read that rest of the book is so rewarding. All right, guys, that is it for all of my tips. If you guys have any tips to help people read more in 2017, let me know them down in the comments below. If you want to check out my most recent video, you can click right there. If you want to subscribe, you can click right there. Check out the description for all my links, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!